We've got to stop trying to turn our kids into a computer engineer or a lawyer. Those are the exact jobs that are most exposed to AI right now. The truth is that the future no longer belongs to the child with the most credentials. It belongs to the child who can make something from nothing, who can think outside the box, and who can come up with new intersections in our world. I'm about to say something that's gonna annoy a lot of the parents watching. Ready? It's time to stop trying to teach your kid code. That is so 10 years ago. But so are many of the other illustrious degrees and career paths that we used to think of as a sure thing in our economy. White-collar jobs like being a lawyer, being an accountant, even being a psychologist. Those are the exact jobs that this thing is coming for first. It was only about 10 years ago that parents thought that teaching kids computer engineering so that they could become AI engineers, so that they could code, would be a great career path for a cushy, well-paid job. And it took a few years since AI's release for AI to be able to actually code instead of people. But when it did, things went really fast. The acceleration went from AI helping coders, editing code, writing some lines of code, to in one fell swoop, AI being able to do everything from A to Z better than an entire team of coders and for a fraction of the cost. I'm not guessing when I say that these jobs are no longer a viable path for economic independence for our children's future. Here are the numbers, and they're a little sobering. CEO of Anthropic, one of the biggest AI companies on Earth, warned that AI could and probably would wipe out all entry-level white-collar jobs within 5 years. And that was a pretty conservative estimate. Stanford's data already shows that entry-level hiring in AI-exposed jobs has dropped about 13%. The cruel irony here? AI is coming for the safe, prestigious, sit at a desk or in a cubicle jobs first. Law, finance, software. These are the exact careers that we've spent the last 30 years directing children towards. Meanwhile, skilled, hands-on work is booming. And around 60% of Gen Z say that they're eyeing trade work as their future career. So the world actually flipped while we weren't looking. So if your child can't make a living being a coder or a lawyer, then what? Here is the answer, and it is not a job. It's a way of being. Entrepreneurship. Here's the truth. We don't really know what the economy is going to look like 5, 10, 15 years down the line. It's possible that we'll maintain most trade jobs. If someone becomes a plumber or a carpenter, or maybe even a teacher at a school, they may still have a paying job. But it's also possible that even those jobs will get eaten into by AI. And beyond making us more productive, they also might make us redundant, as is already happening. And cruel and unfeeling as it might be, bosses who run companies are incentivized by lowering the costs and upping the productivity. And if AI delivers that, that means that many hundreds, thousands, and then millions of people may be out of work really, really soon. It is entirely possible and very hopeful that our governments may adjust to this. They may reconstruct our economy so it's not just a handful of tech entrepreneurs who started these AIs at the top becoming billionaires and maybe even trillionaires while the rest of us suffer and decay, but rather that there might be some kind of new distribution. But that is beyond the scope of what I want to cover here. What I want to say is that we are entering into an age of uncertainty when it comes to the economy. Certain things may hold their value, like real estate and gold potentially. And other things that used to be really, really valuable, like knowledge and skills, might be completely deflated. So why do I say that the way to prepare kids for a future like that is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship isn't just launching startups. It isn't just being in Silicon Valley or in the tech scene. It isn't just learning code and building websites and landing pages and funnels. Entrepreneurship is a way of thinking about the world that seeks out problems and tries to solve those problems. Basically, it's a way of creating value. What entrepreneurs do, or what successful entrepreneurs do, is that they answer a certain need in the market. Something that people want, a pain that they have, something that would upgrade their life or inspire them or help them, maybe something they didn't even know that they wanted, but once they see it, they can immediately see the value in it and are willing to pay for it. Entrepreneurs basically just answer problems with solutions that someone somewhere or enough people are willing to pay for. So we want to raise kids who scan the world for problems and think, I could build something for this. I could optimize this somehow. I could come up with an idea to make this smoother. That is the instinct that we want to train them for in a completely uncertain world. Spot a problem, make a thing, put it in front of a human, hear the inevitable no, fix it, and try again. At the moment, that is the most profound AI-proof skill on the planet. Because whilst AIs have all of the knowledge and all of the skills, at least all of the skills that can be transferred via a screen, they don't really have ambition and drive and innovation. They're not looking for problems to solve or trying to intersect different fields to come up with new solutions. So at least in that regard, they're not creative. The machine can eventually do the task, but it doesn't have the nerve, the guts, the gusto, the drive. We've got to raise kids with gumption, who are willing to take risks, to fail again, to fail faster, to fail cheaper, to fail upwards, to keep trying to solve problems until they finally hit on a problem that actually pays their bills. So the question that we've always asked our kids actually has to change. We don't want to ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? That assumes there's some stable job that they could be and grow into when they grow up. I'll be a doctor, I'll be a lawyer, I'll be an engineer. And that might not be the case. The new question is, what problems are you interested in solving? In today's day and age, we need to raise a problem solver, not a resume. So what can you do practically to raise someone with entrepreneurial thinking? And this works at any age. You can start really young with teaching your children to take initiative. It's the classic lemonade stand. Kids notice that it's hot and sweaty and that everybody could do with a refreshment. And so they're willing to put in a little bit of elbow grease and take initiative and build a lemon stand. They schlep out their table and they set up their jug and they brush the ice in and out and they sell their lemonade. Now, where can you take this to the next level? Well, you can teach them the basics of profit and loss. You can teach them about budgeting. You could teach them about marketing. You could teach them about finding blue waters and opportunities. Well, if you sell your lemonade in the busier park, you'll get more foot traffic and you'll be able to sell more. But you'll also need to buy more lemons and more sugar to provide for your higher rate of customers. Help them figure out what the cogs were, the cost of goods sold, the cost of doing business, the lemons, the sugar, the ice, the cups. Help them figure out which marketing messages landed the best, which time of day they made the most profit, and how they need to share those profits with the people who work with them on this project. Ask them, did we actually make money? This is sowing the seeds of the entrepreneurial spirit and mind. Similar to the critical thinking skills that we discussed in the last video about asking them to prod and question and verify and double check and be skeptical, this instinct teaches them to look for problems where they could bring value. Someone who brings value almost always finds a way of making value back, of getting paid essentially. And so we want our children to always be scanning and searching for ways to bring value to a situation in a way that someone else would be willing to pay for. Your 11-year-old could design stickers and sell them to their friends. But making the money when you're 11 years old is never the point. This is just a lesson in what it takes to be a good business owner. The point is that they run through the full loop. They make the product, they sell the product, they face a customer, they sometimes get rejected, they have to adjust their product to meet the trends, and that loop builds something that a school can't. So where does AI come into this entrepreneurial spirit? We can teach our children to use the AI as a co-founder. As someone who starts and runs businesses, AI is a brilliant place to brainstorm your ideas, to map out your marketing plan, to calculate your profit and loss. Let it help build a website, draft a flyer, whilst your child makes every real decision as the true CEO. The AI is there to augment the kids' agency, to add fuel to their fire, never to replace it. And listen, this is the hard bit for us parents, but we need to let them flop from time to time. It's easier to fail small now while you're just a kid and the stakes are very low. Half of the reason that this generation is so prone to anxiety and depression is that we've sanded down every bump in the road, so they never acclimate to failure or rejection. But a kid who's already heard a no from a customer at the age of 8 is a kid who'll be able to face that same rejection at 25 without falling apart. Remember, resilience is not taught. You can't just tell someone to be anti-fragile. It's experienced, it's learned, it's earned. We earn our resilience through small failures, so let them earn it. So we've already covered 2 key skills that are going to prepare our children for the unprecedented future of AI. We've discussed critical thinking and entrepreneurship. And this next one is going to be crucial in giving our kids the joy, the connection, the community, and the feeling of accomplishment that could be lost when AI can do everything better than us. Let's keep going.